What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about ChargePoint. I want to go over some of the current data points as well. They do have their earnings coming out this week. So I want to go over some expectations and where it might take it. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off at the time of doing this video, it is at 122. Nothing substantial from the company itself as far as PR. So you can kind of see just right here, just their upcoming earnings is that next big thing. Aside from that, just random fluff PRs for the most part. So I think that's one thing that ChargePoint has really been struggling with. And that's just a good substantial catalyst that big money can really get behind. And as you can kind of see, just big money has been massively overlooking ChargePoint, which is rather unfortunate, but I think in reality that might offer a rare opportunity. So ChargePoint for the most part is a forgotten stock. It was popular back in the day, but with their upcoming earnings slated for the 4th after hours, expectations are very, very low. And so right now earnings per share is -9 cents, revenue 89.58 over the last 90 days, 2 positive revisions to the earnings per share and 5 negative. So in reality, I think just the analysts just have such a low expectation for ChargePoint that might offer a good buying opportunity. Even enough that I put on my Patreon, which I just started, that ChargePoint, based on their earnings, is a fairly good buy. So something to keep in mind for this upcoming earnings for the earnings per share, -9 cents does represent a 66.7% upside for year-over-year growth. And that's based on 8 analysts. Revenue, this is where it's lagging. So most likely it is lagging and will continue to lag up until the Q2 2026. So you really want to watch for analysts and what they give for future guidance as well, coming from management standpoint, because that could change the dynamic of profitability. Analysts are forecasting kind of end or second half of 2026, early 2027. That's where profitability will kind of take place. But again, I think that's just incorporating a lack of catalysts. So expectations very low, plus the options, the volatility. If you do play options, it is just dirt cheap. So pretty much market makers aren't seeing much upside with ChargePoint. So if you are looking at kind of making some pretty good money, you can definitely play that through options. Right now, the implied move is 18.73% in either direction. So either it is going to go back to the $1 range, which I did do a video not too long ago saying that it was going to get to kind of that $1 range, and that would be a screaming buying opportunity. For those of you that kind of paid attention to that, that's when that new low was hit. And since then it has recovered. So I think just ChargePoint's fine, kind of following the technicals for the most part, but regardless, 18.73% in either direction. So a lot of volatility, just anticipate that. And plus it is very heavily shorted. So based on Friday, shorts did return 1.35 million shares. 31.38% of the free float is being shorted. And like across the broader market, you have shorts really just returning, losing their asses on pretty much everything except ChargePoint. They are really doubling down. And in my opinion, with the lower volume and lack of institutions really buying it, ChargePoint shorts are able to do whatever the hell they want. And this is why they kind of found a infinite money glitch. But with their upcoming earnings, and let's say they do exceed expectations, which bars are fairly low, so in my opinion, it could be easily done, that might draw some value investors in the market because big money is looking for discount plays, and ChargePoint, dependent on how the earnings turn out, could be that value play. So definitely shorts are going to be a lot of volatility for this upcoming week, but 17.25% is that cost to borrow average, utilization 99.78, and then short score. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is sitting at 92.02%. So pretty crazy stuff. As far as options, very low volume. So even on Friday, there was 111 in calls, 36,000 in puts. So very low. 51% of all the options being done are anticipating more of a pullback. of the call options that are being purchased, so more optimism, you see it for it to be above $1.50, and then looking at puts, you see more so sub $1. So pretty much mimicking exactly what this is stating, so like a 20% implied move. In my opinion, I think if their earnings exceed expectations with jobs data as well coming out this week, and that's positive, you could see kind of the high ones in reality, which is somewhat being portrayed as well based on somewhat here. So Elliott Wave Technicals through IBKR does indicate that there's a $1.05 as a pivot. For as long as it is above that, then it is anticipated to kind of hit between that $1.45 and $1.54 range. These are the latest analyst ratings, so anticipate a lot of changes for this. So you have $3 buy rating, $1.20 hold. So you have pretty much all over the place. So you have bullishness, bearishness. $1.20 was that new low, so that's the lowest rating that has come in. You also do have within the last 2 months the highest rating, so $4. So polar opposites. So I think this upcoming earnings is absolutely key and for pretty much the trajectory for ChargePoint. It's either a make it or break it moment right now, and regrettably, just zooming out, ChargePoint hasn't done all that great. I've been covering it for a while now. It did have a lot of good optimism, but I think management largely did drop the ball numerous times. But beside the point, I think, like I said, there is some opportunity to make some money here. Just that's my own opinion, of course. On a side note, if you're wanting all this information, so analyst ratings, forecasts, ownership, everything under the sun, take a look at IBKR. I have a link in the description below for all of it to be completely free. But right now with it at $1.22, it is sitting on this R2. So going into the next couple trading days, just watch for $1.19, $1.13 support levels to hold. And then I guess in theory, based on that implied move, you could watch for $1.07 and $1.04. Flip side, $1.28, $1.35, and I believe it was $1.40 are going to be key resistance levels for it to really break higher. Just on the actual chart itself, just to go over here for a second. So generally the chart leading into today was, it shows some signs that it does want to go higher. So it is right now above the ALMA, but of course I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The technicals leading into today obviously are relatively crap. It has shown some signs of really moving higher, but I think that as well could be linked to just the broader market. But aside from that, the 50, 100, 200-day moving average, so you have the 50 at 127, that pivot point right here of $1.31. So if it does and is able to get above that, then in theory, this is where the algos will really start to signal a good buying opportunity. So kind of watch for that $1.31 as well. And then aside from that, $1.53 and then $1.62 as other kind of resistance points. So I think in best case scenario, it is most likely able to get above all of this, just be momentarily kind of breaking out. Just shorts during that time period would be relatively active. So let me know your thoughts on ChargePoint. Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? What is your viewpoint on ChargePoint? And for those of you that are dabbling with options, what kind of strike price and expiry date are you picking for potentially playing their earnings or just the company itself? One final thing I do want to share with you, I did launch a Patreon where I'm giving buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Absolutely killing it. So pop over there, link in the description below and also the comments to take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.